You are lying in bed right now, or somewhere close to it. The room is dark. The phone is glowing. Your thumb moves without you even deciding to move it. Just a few more minutes, you tell yourself. But somewhere on the other side of the world, someone hasn't slept in 9 days. Not because they can't, because they're not letting themselves. In 1964, a 17-year-old named Randy Gardner decided to break a record for a science fair project. He wanted to see how long a human being could stay awake. No drugs, no tricks, just willpower, a few friends to keep him talking, and a stubborn refusal to close his eyes. By day 2, he couldn't focus his vision. By day 3, he was seeing things that weren't there. By day 11, doctors monitoring him documented something strange. His brain, on certain tests, had started behaving like it belonged to someone with early-stage dementia. He survived, he recovered, but something about what happened to him in those 11 days still isn't fully explained, because sleep was never supposed to be optional. You've probably been told that sleep is downtime, a pause button, the body idling in a garage overnight so it can wake up and drive again in the morning. That is not what's happening. While you are unconscious, something is happening inside your skull that researchers only fully mapped in the last 15 years. It has a name most people have never heard: the glymphatic system. Think of it as a cleaning crew that only shows up after everyone else has gone home. During deep sleep, the space between your brain cells physically expands and fluid begins washing through it, flushing out the metabolic waste your brain produced all day. One of the things it clears out is a protein called beta amyloid. In small amounts, harmless. Left to build up, it's the same protein found clumped inside the brains of Alzheimer's patients. Your brain, in other words, cleans its own house every night. And if it doesn't get the chance, the mess doesn't just sit there quietly, it accumulates. Historians have found something else buried in old diaries and court depositions from before the 1800s. Before gas lamps, before electric light, people didn't sleep the way you do. They slept in 2 stretches. A first sleep, a waking period of an hour or 2 in the middle of the night, used for quiet conversation, prayer, or just lying in the dark thinking. And then a second sleep before dawn. That pattern shows up again and again in pre-industrial records. Then it vanishes almost completely right around the time artificial light started spreading through cities. Something ancient in the human body was rewired in a single generation, and most people alive today have no idea it ever worked differently. So back to Randy Gardner and what was actually happening to him. By day 3, researchers noticed his mood swinging wildly from irritable to euphoric and back within minutes. He struggled to complete sentences. He would start talking and lose the thread entirely, forgetting what he was even trying to say. Here's what scientists studying prolonged wakefulness eventually figured out decades later. Sleep deprivation doesn't attack the whole brain evenly. It goes after judgment first. The prefrontal cortex, the part of you responsible for decision-making, impulse control, weighing consequences, is one of the first regions to lose function when you don't sleep. Brain scans of sleep-deprived subjects show it going quiet, less active, less connected to the rest of the brain. Meanwhile, the amygdala, the part of your brain responsible for fear and emotional reactivity, does the opposite. It ramps up. It gets louder, more reactive, more prone to treating minor things like threats. So picture what that actually means. The part of you that keeps you calm, rational, and in control shuts down first. The part of you that panics gets stronger. That is why sleep-deprived people don't just feel tired. They feel afraid for no clear reason. They snap at people they love. They make decisions they wouldn't normally make, not because they're a different person, but because the part of their brain that usually stops them has quietly gone offline. Randy Gardner recovered. Most people who miss a night, or 3 nights, eventually do. But there is a condition that shows what happens when the body forgets how to sleep at all, permanently, and it reveals something almost nobody expects. It's called fatal familial insomnia. It's genetic, extraordinarily rare, and it does exactly what the name suggests. At some point, usually in mid-adulthood, a person carrying the mutation simply stops being able to sleep. Not occasionally, not with effort, completely and permanently. Here's the part that surprises almost everyone who hears about it for the first time. It doesn't kill through exhaustion. The progression is slower and stranger than that. First comes insomnia that no medication can touch. Then panic attacks and phobias that seem to come from nowhere. Then hallucinations. Then a rapid dementia-like decline, where the person begins losing track of who they are, where they are, what year it is. Death usually follows within 18 months of the first symptom. The body doesn't just get tired without sleep. It forgets how to be a body. It forgets how to regulate temperature, how to manage hormones, how to hold a stable version of a person together night after night. Sleep, it turns out, isn't rest, it's maintenance. And nothing survives long without it. That's the part almost nobody expects going into this. The danger was never tiredness. Tiredness is just the warning label. The real cost is something closer to identity itself, quietly dissolving without the nightly repair job that keeps it intact. Now, here's where it gets uncomfortable because you don't need a rare genetic disorder to feel a version of this. Researchers studying chronic partial sleep deprivation, the kind caused by screens, stress, inconsistent schedules, and just generally staying up too late too often, have found something troubling. People who consistently get 6 hours of sleep instead of 8 don't feel dramatically impaired. They feel normal. They report feeling fine. But when tested on reaction time, memory, and decision making, their performance keeps declining day after day until it matches people who have been awake for 24 straight hours. They don't notice. That's the unsettling part. The subjective feeling of being fine and the objective reality of impaired function completely disconnect from each other after about 2 weeks of mild sleep restriction. You stop being able to tell. Some researchers now argue that an entire generation may be operating with a permanent, invisible cognitive deficit, not because any one person chose it, but because everyone around them is living the exact same way. When the baseline shifts for everyone at once, nobody notices the baseline has moved. Which brings you back to where this started. You, in bed, phone glowing. Just a few more minutes. Doesn't feel like anything. That's what makes it easy. There's no dramatic collapse, no hallucination, no single moment where the cost becomes visible. Just a slow, quiet trade made almost every night between the version of you that wants 5 more minutes of scrolling and the version of you that needs the cleaning crew to finish its shift. Tonight, when you finally put the phone down and close your eyes, something ancient is going to start happening whether you think about it or not. Fluid will begin moving through your brain. Waste will start clearing out. A version of maintenance older than written history will quietly do its work while you're not paying attention to it at all. And tomorrow night, when your thumb reaches for the phone again, just a few more minutes before sleep, you may realize it was never a harmless habit in the first place. It was a decision about whether to let the cleaning crew finish the job.